Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. Rest assured, you'll get your money's worth. With this show, it happened.
Hi, I'm Kate Bachman, Senior Editor at Metalforming Magazine. Welcome, and thank you for joining us for this Metalforming Live Recruit, Retain, Train. Before we get too far along, I'd like to thank our sponsors, whose generous support of this program has allowed us to offer this to you for no charge. Intertech Alchemy is a provider of workforce training and development solutions. And PTM Corp has been manufacturing stamping since 1972, with expertise in engineering, prototyping, and long and short run production stampings. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, more than 600,000 manufacturing jobs are unfilled today. With a low unemployment rate and a large segment of the manufacturing workforce retiring, that number could be as high as 2.1 million by the end of this decade. Metal forming and fabricating manufacturers are seeking new and innovative ways to attract the next gen workforce. And once that workforce has been onboarded, they need to be educated and trained in their new roles at the company. And then once they are hitting their strides and achieving their production rates, the last thing an employer wants is to lose those valuable contributors. With me today are three very valuable and stellar manufacturing leaders who are willing to share their workforce strategies. And I'll let them introduce themselves.
I am Steve Peplin, CEO and founder of Talon Products. We're a contract manufacturer in Cleveland, Ohio, specializing in high volume progressive die metal stampings, aluminum extrusions, and assemblies. Primarily serve the disruptive markets such as solar, LED lighting, and electric vehicles.
Awesome, Steve. Kate, thanks for having me. Thanks to PMA today. I am Donna Kaur, CEO and co-partner at PTM Corporation. We're in Southeast Detroit, Michigan. I am a second metal manufacturer. We, like Kate said, we do prototype production, metal stampings. We work with all the OEMs, a ton of those tier ones. And we also do a lot of fabricating at our facility with the products that are needed in the automotive. That was an area we really started to dive into. And I think I said I'm second generation or third generation's there. And we just love making magic with metal.
Yeah. Steve. And then streaming in virtually is Lance Thrakill. Lance is the CEO of All Metals Fabricating. Hi, Lance.
Hey, my name's Lance Thrakill. Thank you guys for having me. I'm the third generation owner of All Metals Fabricating. We are a contract manufacturer specializing in sheet metal fabricating, machining, powder coating, and electromechanical assembly. We serve virtually every industry. Telecom has been our biggest for the past 30, 40 years. And now alternative energy has actually replaced it as our biggest industry.
Wow, very cool. Also joining us are PMA's own workforce development specialists, Connie King and Mary Pramick.
Hi, I'm Connie King, Workforce Development Director here at PMA. And on top of the fabulous benefits you get for being a member of PMA, one of the areas that we focus on is the technical and non-technical training and development.
And hi, I'm Mary Pramick. I am Workforce Development Manager, and it's my 1-year anniversary here at PMA.
Yay.
And I'm excited to be part of this discussion today on training and retaining employees.
So we're all taking notes because we want to retain Mary.
Right.
Beyond 1 year. So just a reminder, this is live. So bring your questions and we'll hope to help you with your challenges.
Yes, please bring questions.
Please bring questions. We'll start with our industry leaders. So I ran across this sign on social media and just kind of a reminder of how dire it may be out there. So my question to you, Donna, is just how dire is it? How difficult is it to get a workforce in in the doors?
Well, getting people in the door has been a challenge for a little while. We had COVID hit and it changed some dynamics about the thought of going to work. But as everybody knows, we're metal manufacturers and you can't do that from home. So it's important for us to have that collaboration in-house with the designers, with engineers, with everybody to make that product happen, because we just don't do the production side of things, but we work with our customers on a very intimate level during the development and the prototype stages of their project so that we can help them manufacture that to go into production. So getting people in the door can be quite the challenge. It's been a challenge for a long time. I personally think it's going to get worse. And I think that's why we really need to look at different ways that we bring in new talent, such as some of the ways, we're hiring 11th and 12th grade high school students right out of high school. And the county that I'm in is St. Clair County. We're very pro-business. We're very pro-manufacturing. Obviously, our state is very pro-manufacturing. So we like to bring those students in from this technical center that every high school sends some students to. And, they do engineering programs there. They do welding, mostly MIG welding. And then they do CAD. They also do CNC programming. So we'd like to bring those kids in to give them just an exposure a week or two. They'll come in a few days a week and just mentor with a couple different people in our company, which really helps take the ease off the students, but it also helps the parents say, I can actually send my child to a manufacturer to be safe, to be quality minded, and to teach my child a trade. And in our case, it doesn't cost them anything to get an education through PTM Corporation with all the different services, which some of them are the PMA educational program that we utilize through PMA, as well as also internal training that we do with our staff. So yes, getting them in the door is going to be a challenge, but you have to look for other areas. Matter of fact, I think I told you earlier, we did manufacturing day and with a couple of the high schools in our area. And there's this one teacher that kept bringing her 10th graders back. And next thing I know, after 3 years of coming to manufacturing day, she was like, hey, can I apply for a job here? I'm an educator. And we're like, yes, we would love to have educators work for us, right? She had some challenges at, the school that she had. And what I love about that, now we have somebody that has an educational background, that works with younger people, that we're hoping that we can utilize her skill set, learn our trade, work together with PMA educational products, and then give our people something that's very dynamic, that makes them have a purpose and useful. And it's just good for everybody.
Well, I think you just talked us all into it. I think we're leaving. Mary's gonna leave. We lost her already. Steve, how about you? How dire is it? Are you willing to hire long-haired freaky people?
Yeah, we hire everybody. We cut across all
Right on.
demographics. It's real. I mean, it's not just manufacturing. It's not just metal stamping, metal forming. I mean, all businesses have trouble staffing nowadays. So you really have to compete. You have to really, I guess our single biggest differentiator, I like to think, is our culture. You have to be cool. You have to be the kind of place that somebody would want their son to, that you would want your child, your son or daughter to go work at. You want to be a desirable place that have good values. Example is our values, safety, collaboration, tenacity, and respect. These are our core values. 3 of those are relate directly to the employees and to our colleagues. Safety, of course, we're a metal forming company with great big, huge machines and 30,000-pound coils. It's potentially a very dangerous place if you don't, we have a strong safety culture.
Yes, you do.
Collaboration is hugely important. It doesn't just mean collaborate with your customers and your suppliers, but you collaborate among departments and with your employees and your colleagues. And respect is tenacity means that's real customer focus. That means we'll get it done. But respect is, you treat your coworkers or your employees, somebody your direct reports, treat people like you would like to be treated. And all those add up to being a desirable workplace. We strive to be an employer of choice. Everybody has choices where they want to go work. They have a choice of industries. They have a choice even within our industry of other companies that are everybody's looking for good people.
Well, that sounds really good. Donna, I'm sorry, we're leaving. We're gonna come over to Talent Products.
Yeah, exactly. I might go there too.
Lance, how about you? Down in Texas, are you facing the same dire difficulties and challenges in recruiting?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we see that across the industry. We've been very fortunate to not have a skilled labor challenges as much as we've had more of unskilled labor and keeping the younger generation engaged and getting them in. But we see that challenge across the board. And, something Steve talked about resonated with me. It's you're not just marketing yourself now to your customers and trying to win business. You're marketing yourself to future employees as well. And you've really got to shift your marketing strategies to appeal to future employees. And so that's something that we're doing as well. And we were doing it without me even necessarily realizing that we were doing it. But that's something in preparation, for this call we talked about and really resonated with me. And so that's something we're doing. We've been very fortunate to be able to get skilled labor through our compensation packages that really appeal to seasoned veterans in the field. We have a 15% 401k contribution that we give every year, and that's very attractive. So we have a welder that's been with us this is 48th year. He's got over $1 million in his 401k. And so that's a cool story to tell. And every applicant, we share that story. We've actually got 3 employees over 40 years. And so we've got a great tenure. We haven't experienced the rapid growth that these other guys have. And so it maybe not been quite as big of a challenge for us. We've been able to recruit those people through our compensation package. We've also fully funded healthcare. We also do performance-based bonuses, quarterly bonuses. And then we have a little bit different of a structure in that we let people work up to 20 hours a week of overtime as long as they have the work. And so we run leaner as opposed to a lot of companies will have constantly hiring and laying off. And so while that might seem better for the bottom line, as opposed to not letting people work overtime, you're not factoring in your unemployment rate that you're getting taxed on every paycheck for every employee. You're not factoring in the cost of turnover, the cost of hiring. And so by running leaner, and it allows our people to work more and therefore make more. And then we are able to have such a great average tenure. So we've got an average tenure of 12 years. And that's even that we've grown our staff by over 40% in the past decade. So even though we've nearly doubled our staff, we still have an average tenure of 12 years. So that's been great. But definitely the unskilled labor is a challenge and something that we can talk about later on in the webinar as well.
Sure. Sounds like you have some great recruitment strategies going on. And we had talked earlier, you said that part of your recruitment is screening. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's a big key for it. I think that, we get in these desperate situations where we need people, we need bodies. And so I think that manufacturers especially can just, okay, you can do the trade. All right, can you start tomorrow and hire them? And so we've got a different approach. We start before we'll even interview you. You do a personality assessment so we can make sure that you're a highly detail-oriented person. We're also trying to hire more autonomous people that are problem solvers. For certain positions, we build a profile specific to every position, and we find matches to that position. And so that's the first step. And then second step is during the interview process, we screen them for our core values. So we have a core value, whatever it takes. And a lot of people just want to have a job and go get paid and go home every day. And that's great. And I understand that perspective. But to work here, you have to have a different mindset of like, you're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done and get the product out the door. That's something that my grandfather instilled here and still lives on very much today. And so we screen for that on the front end and just make sure that people are going to be a good core value fit so that when you hire them, they actually stick around. Also, just what's their short and long-term goals? If there's somebody that wants to be, if they say, oh yeah, I'm looking to find a home. Well, what's your long-term goal? I want to start my own business. Okay, well, those don't align, right? So having multiple points in the interview where you can kind of screen that to make sure that this person's looking to find a home where they can stay and build a career. Because there's nothing more frustrating than your people on the floor than training somebody and then them no-showing or quitting after a week or month or even a year. That's pretty frustrating and costly to our people in more ways than one. So you really want to screen those. No matter how desperate you are for people, it's worse to hire the wrong person than it is to keep limping along with a labor shortage and hire the right person. We hire the right person.
It sounds like your recruitment strategies are working, considering the tenure.
Absolutely.
you have Some of your employees. Donna, how about you? You talked a little bit in your intro about your recruitment strategies. Tell us a little bit more about what you're doing to bring the next gen workforce into your plant.
And that's a good question. So like 10 or 11 years ago, we seen that there was gonna be, I mean, we all seen it. It's going to be a problem. So about 10 or 11 years ago, we went and worked with our local county and worked with every high school that was there. And one of the things I said, I don't want to be the voice always coming, telling you about what manufacturing issues are, because you just, you have people there because it's a meeting, you have to be there. So we did a series of videos with young people who were seniors in high school, and some of them were in CNC competition at their school, and then they could go to the state, they could go to the country, and then eventually internationally compete for CNC. And there was this young man, I said, I want to do a video with you. And we asked him a series of questions. So we were before this whole room full of every high school represented in our county. And when we played that video, there were actually people in the room that got a little teary-eyed, because when I went there, I said, I'm going to tell you something that you won't want to hear as an educator, but there's different routes of getting a higher education. We need attorneys, we need doctors. Those are all formal programs, and their education needs to ebb and flow. But there's some people that we need to grab to give them hope that they can do these things, and they learn differently. And so this young man that told his story, I mean, I had people come up afterward and said, oh my God, we need to hear more of this. And I go, you don't need to hear it from me. You need to listen to who your customer is. In the high schools and our educational systems, we need to look at those kids today and provide them with products and services that help them compete against the world. Now, not all are going to go to manufacturing, but we definitely need to change things at a state level. And, in our state of Michigan, we've really had a decline rate in population. So that even makes it more of a challenge. And so that's why, I talked about reformed immigration. We need good reformed immigration. We did hire we hired people through the Ukraine project, through the state of Michigan, who helped us. And there's no English speaking, but we work around it. We're not a huge company where we can have translators come in, but you look at your technology, and we're using Google Translator, and Google Translator is helping us with our work instructions. Google Translator is helping with the people that don't speak English. And actually our people have really embraced it, had a lot of fun with it. And we've picked up a good welder who was completely displaced from his country. Actually was a welder there, had his own business, had to leave his country and came here. The man was here 1 month. And ever since then, after a month, he worked for me, and he's been employed since. And it's such a great success story. I can't tell you, but we were really happy to work through the state of Michigan. And like I said, our local county has a lot to help. And of course, you guys do with your products and services on the educational side, specifically for metal stamping, fabricating, and even force slide, which we also do, and you have programs for that also.
Very cool. Well, and it sounds like it's really important to you to get those young students in your plant.
It is.
With Manufacturing Day, and you have some other things going on with the recruitment.
Yeah,
also.
and the Manufacturing Day, we've been doing that for a long time. Last few years, we've done 2 days because we've had schools, because they know we're so pro manufacturing. But we encourage, when the Manufacturing Day comes, we even tell the kids, look, we're going to give you contact numbers, have your mom and dad come back. We have the counselors that come, and we even encourage their parents to come. If we can show the parent today how manufacturing, one, is exciting. Mobility has changed so much in our industry. We're kind of like at the Henry Ford days again with, EV, is it not EV? Is it going to be hybrid? So there's all this designing going on, collaboration. And it's not just the mobility side, but it's how smart our cars are anymore. So when you can bring those kids and their parents into our manufacturing facility, and we're metal, and I think metal's pretty cool, but what our industry doing is exciting. It's not easy, but it's very exciting. Our parents can see, hey, there is an opportunity here. And I think we have to find a way to make manufacturing, I say metal manufacturing, super exciting, sexy, in the place where people want to be, because there's so many avenues that you can branch off to it in the automotive industry and metal manufacturing.
Well, thank you very much for that. And, and it does seem that there aren't very many opportunities for kids to see what manufacturing looks like. You know, you mentioned, we need doctors, we need lawyers. There are a lot of doctor and lawyer shows, television shows and programs out there where, young students have an opportunity to see what that looks like, vision themselves as that, but we really don't have that in manufacturing. So maybe we need to get somebody up, a producer in Hollywood and get.
Well, I
get in a
agree,
picture.
we use our social media to get out there and, we haven't gone TikTok, not yet, but we're going to. And we've just started on, like Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn, Metal Mondays. So we want to do something really fun about Metal Mondays through TikTok, but I want to use our people so that they can give like, and it has to be funny, but it has to say, holy cow, did they just stamp that? What did they just do? Because I think we've done what we've done for so long that sometimes we take for granted of how really cool our industry is. We make
We're
stuff.
right in it, so we tend to not notice it, not.
Right.
But manufacturing is cool. Manufacturing,
It is.
manufacturing made America strong.
Yes,
We're the arsenal of democracy. In World War II, we would not be a free world if it wasn't for manufacturing.
that's right.
I mean, we were making a plane an hour or something,
Yeah.
or, a Merlin engine, 1 an hour plane a day, B-24
Yeah.
every day.
What are
Yeah.
some of your recruitment strategies, Steve?
We're probably one of our biggest is referrals. We pay well, and we pay a bounty. And if you think about it, mechanics behind that, somebody who wants to recruit a friend or a colleague, somebody he knows to come work with him, he's not gonna recruit somebody that's not also a hard worker. You'd be making your job more difficult. You brought in somebody who was a slacker. And birds of a feather, right? People tend to hang out with with people like themselves. So we've been very successful with recruiting through referrals. We also have done a lot of non-traditional demographic targeting, meaning women in manufacturing. Women have been in manufacturing, that's not new. But in heavy metal manufacturing, shops are not full of women. We've been around for 37 years, and only in the last few have we had a lot of women press operators. And they're some of our stars. They're really good. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because it's not physically hard work. It's a mind game. It's mentally, it's a knowledge game. We also have traditional apprenticeship programs, state registered apprenticeships for tool and die and for maintenance electrician. That's one of the avenues. And we work with the schools, we work with the schools to try to get noticed, get referrals basically from the teachers and counselors and parents.
Do you and Jenna find that the schools are cooperative? You mentioned that. One of them said.
Yeah, we get a lot. I saw a demographic at a conference I was just at. It was, I'm not positive of this, it was Gallup had done the survey. It was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and today. 10 years ago, how did they phrase it? They said, the value of a traditional four-year education is really important. 10 years ago, it was like 58% agreed with that. 5 years ago, it was down in the low 40s. Now it's in the 30s, just in 10 years.
I think it's the cost of that education, and that's what's, I think most manufacturers today would love to get that person that's hungry, that wants to learn, that has a great attitude, because we're all in this together.
Yeah,
We all have to train.
We kind of have an undeserved reputation of being dark, dirty, and
Yes.
dangerous. When I say we, manufacturing, special metals, heavy metal manufacturing. Now, if you're in a big foundry, it is.
It's a challenge.
It's challenge. It's not like we work with clean, dry metal, but it's not dark, dirty, and dangerous.
Oh.
And as a matter of fact, even the foundries aren't dangerous now. No, all factories just about that I've ever been in are very safe. But they're well lit. They're knowledge jobs. Everything is computerized. Nobody's manually doing things. I mean, there are occasional pockets of manual work, but it's a mind game. It's knowledge work.
And so manufacturing has changed.
Mhm.
And maybe that's part of the challenge.
Changing.
It
It's
is.
changing
Changing.
every day.
And I think one of the things that, me, Steve, and Lance both agreed, it's a culture. You have to look as a business owner, your culture is so important, not just to me, but at the people who serve our industry, because it's not easy. Customers have very demanding needs, because there's so many things rapidly changing in our industry. Our code item number one, we have 10 codes. One of them is to deliver exceptional performance and peace of mind to our customers. And that's something that we try to train. Needs to be embedded in every soul that works for us, because it is about serving, not just our outside customers, internal customers. We were talking earlier about how important it is to bring everybody to pull in the same direction. But you gotta have that good culture, because I can walk through a plant and have walked through plants. You can see the culture, you can feel the culture in most of these places that I've walked through.
Well, Lance, I'm gonna turn the question over to you then. So we were talking about company culture. How would you describe your company culture, Lance?
Yeah, I think the culture, I mean, if you want to recruit people and retain people, it starts with your culture first and foremost. And there's no point of arrival on your culture. You have to constantly be working on improving it. So, if your company hasn't defined what their core values are, then you need to do that. And people have aspirational core values. That's not your true core values. You look at your top 5 performers and describe them, and that's going to tell you who you are. Top 5, 10, whatever performers, that's going to tell you who you are as an organization. And so doubling down on that, improving communication between departments, improving communication between management, giving the people on the floor the platform and the communication channels to communicate their ideas upstream, and give them a voice at the table, and being prepared to respond to that. And so, if you do nothing else, just work on your company culture. That's first and foremost. And then, I really think that it's a multi-headed approach in terms of, attracting talent. The referral program for us works great. We do the same thing. It's, I think, a $500 referral fee. I've never not walked out on the floor, and anytime we've had a need and asked people in that department, and literally not had somebody there the same day applying, if not within a week. And so a big part of that is our culture, because all the people all of our employees are telling all their friends, how much they love working here. And so when they call one of their friends saying, hey, I need somebody, they're running up here and applying. And so that's something that works great for us. Also working through staffing companies, using your social media. Every single thing you can do to recruit talent is key. You got to really have a multi-headed approach. And then something else we do, as it's a more longer term approach, is we also do the same thing. We partner with all the high schools around locally, and we do tours for their robotics team annually. And so as these kids are interested in that space, we're pitching to them, hey, look how great it is to work here. And then we also have an engineering internship program. I truly believe that to be a successful and good engineer, you need to have real shop floor experience. Anybody can draw something in CAD. It's another thing to make it. And so every summer we have college students come and intern here and work out on the floor, and we give them different projects, including like a design project at the end. And we're looking at those. We got somebody here working now that we've hired out of that internship program. And so that's a great recruitment tool. And then those people are also going to go and be engineers somewhere else. And so who do you think they're going to call on when they need a part built? And you've provided them a place to work and taught them what they know. And so that's something that I would encourage every company to do. It's an easy win. We're not paying them a lot. We're paying them an average, what the people on the floor would make. And so they're gaining the experience. That's something that's been really powerful for us.
Very interesting. We had a few questions come in. This one is from Toby. Lance, this is directed to you. You mentioned the personality testing before hiring. Where would I research that to find the questions to ask?
So we use Culture Index. It's cultureindex.com. You can reach out. They have, basically you sign up for it. I think it's $7,500 a year, something like that. And you can test as many people. So we've actually bought it to test all of our internal people, because the better I know you, the better I can serve you as a leader. So, and the better I can lead you. And so, yeah, the golden rule is great of treat others like you want to be treated, but really you may want to be treated differently than I want to be treated. And so by knowing somebody's wiring you can lead them better, you can serve them better. And so that's actually why we originally got it. So whether you're needing to hire or not, I think the value's there. And then you also get a coach that goes along, a consultant that comes alongside you and helps you as you navigate different hires and create different positions and different profiles. So cultureindex.com is the one we use. There's lots of other ones. I like that one. It's very simple. And I've done probably 250 surveys, like viewed and interviewed, like gone over it with people. And I've had maybe one person that was like, on one of the 6 traits, be like, I don't know if that one was right. So out of all these, I mean, people, like, I've never even met them or had a conversation with them. And I start the interview by being like, hey, sure, you want to know what this was? And their mouths, their like jaws drop to the floor. They're like, it's like I undressed them. They just, it's so accurate. It's pretty incredible.
Cool, very cool. Thank you so much. And we had a question for you, Donna.
Mhm.
The question was related to college. Many parents are pushing their kids to go to college instead of getting into non-collegiate type manufacturing jobs. How do you kind of combat that? How do you reach the parents?
Oh, well, we haven't come to, I'm all about go see, you know, so we get the parents right out on the shop floor. We introduce them to our leaders. We introduce them to other people similar to their age, especially if they're just coming out of high school or college. You know, we work with high school kids. We recruit from the local colleges also. And it's just getting them right on the floor and making sure the ones who, you know, they're adults and they're out of school, we always tell them, if you have a parent who wants to come along or an influential person that you would like to come to our facility, we'd like for you to meet some team members. And because you have to meet people where they're at, right? We even have journeymen that come there, but it's still, when you're going to a new facility, you have your trade, but everybody has their certain way of doing things. And I think that's where, like, our team, this new HR team that we have, they are getting senior members, they're getting people that are peers, and to work with the new person coming in at every level, whether they're younger people new to the industry or have been around a while, because the more that you feel like you're part of the team, we don't want to just hire people. We want to build the team, right? It's so important to get the right people. I think Lance said it, you know, you want to find the right people. Steve said the same thing, and you want to make sure they fit within your culture. And, you know, we've had all kinds of people work for us. And it just works. As long as you have a heart to want to make things and serve customers and work together as a team, we want you on the team.
I always say that our most important assets walk out the door and drive home every night. That the people, whenever I'm given a all hands talk, I always make sure the new people know that anybody, our business, we're first off, we're really high performers in it. Our sales are sometimes 5x per person.
Wow.
What the industry median is.
Wow.
And they vary from 3 to 500%. But it's anybody can go buy the steel or the aluminum or copper. That's a commodity. We all pay the same price for it. Anybody can go have a die made. Anybody can buy a press. Go to stampers, are being auctioned all the time. Go to buy your own press. And the market sets the price. So really, the only differentiator is our people. That's what causes us to be such high performers. And so I make sure they all know that. That's also why we set the bar pretty high.
Well, this Roger would be happy to hear that. He said talent is readily available and we excel at locating them. My question is this: why do companies opt for financial losses due to unfilled roles instead of tapping into the expertise of seasoned industry recruiters? He's from a metal recruiters company.
We do use recruiters.
Okay.
We
have
do also.
some really good ones.
Yeah, we
That's-
rarely use recruiters, and nothing personal against them. But we used to go through recruiters to hire people, and we just don't, we don't.
I
just-
I should clarify that we use recruiters for executive positions.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've added a lot of senior management recently. And we have a real good relationship with our recruiters.
This is going back to the schools, support from schools. How many of your local schools have shop classes? If they do not have shop classes, how receptive they are to kids looking at other things. Lance, how about you? Are there shop classes in Texas, in your area of Texas?
Yeah, every high school that I know of here locally has robotics classes. And so that's a main one in terms of like actual shop classes. I think that probably varies more from, school district to school district. But like Donna was saying, I mean, we got to change the narrative, and I think it has been changed and is changing and needs to continue to be doubled down on. Like, it doesn't make sense for everybody to go get a 4-year degree and take on debt to do so. And so, I mean, we've got, people working here that, they're all making, $50,000 to $100,000. And so, yeah, they may be working 60 hours a week to do that. And they don't start out at that necessarily, especially if they're unskilled, but they didn't have to go take on debt to get to that earning level. And so you got to change the narrative, and it starts with getting into these schools and entertaining these students and educating them directly from us, showing them, hey, all the automation, that we're investing in, and that's attractive to them. That's how you appeal to this, next generation, is through automation, also through, a lot of the Gen Z people want to be connected to the why. So our why is we serve people with excellence. That we're in the business of serving people with excellence. That we make metal products, yes, but it's really about serving others with excellence. And that resonates with people, along with our 10-year vision to be the best and most automated job shop in America. And so that you want to cast this big vision, you want to teach the why behind it, and that's how you start to resonate with these people.
Very good, thank you. Well, one of the questions here references just kind of the qualifications for a new employee. And the question is related to, what if someone comes to you, they really have no experience, they don't really haven't learned the skills that you need, but they're really eager, they're eager to learn, they want to learn, they're interested. Where do you find that balance, and what does that mean to you?
I could take
Start
that.
with you, Steve.
We have a program, we hire for attitude and aptitude. They do
Ah.
not necessarily have to have a competency in running a press. And press operators are not entry level. I mean, but we can take an entry level person, male or female, and make them into a highly paid professional press operator in a year or two. I mean, pretty quickly. We use Metalforming EDU. And remember, before Metalforming EDU, we had
Say that again, Steve.
Metalforming.edu is the basis for Talon U, which is our overall education program. But yeah, we can take somebody that's a lot of on-the-job training, and we have a formal curriculum that they follow, and a lot of it involves mentoring, but and it involves the formal process of and we had to standardize it. Our presses are all different, but we had to build all the controls, so there's standard controls, and all the presses have the same controls. When you learn how to run one press, you pretty much are qualified to run more. I mean, it's going to be nuances, but yeah, that's a huge part of we have to make. It used to be when you needed a press operator in Cleveland, big industrial city, you needed a press operator. You put an ad in the Plain Dealer. Of course, the newspaper's now gone. You put an ad in the Plain Dealer, and you get 12, 15 applicants, and you hire the best one. Now you put an ad in the paper, you're gonna get zero. What's no paper? You put an ad anywhere, you're gonna get zero replies. And so we really have to hire for attitude and aptitude and train competency.
Well, that leads me to my next question then, and I'll come to you. Are your recruitment strategies the same or similar to your retention strategies? Are they different?
They're very similar. I talk about, like in the retention and in the recruitment, some people say, why you guys should do so many videos of you guys having fun and parties and stuff like that. But, that's kind of part of our culture, right? We like to work hard, but we also like to have fun. And so we do like to post that. And a lot of people, and in fact, there was a gal in my HR department, Robin, she's like, I was very happy at my job, but she goes, I kept seeing your company pop up, and I kept seeing all these fun events you guys were doing. And she goes, I'm just going to call and see what it's all about, and she was happy where she was at. And so she applied for the job. We wind up hiring her. And so I do think it's important to have that culture. You need to be proud of your culture, right? And you need to share it to the world. Everybody else is sharing something. So we said, we want to share who we are.
Sometimes too much.
Sometimes. Exactly. So we just said, we're going to put out who we are. And if you think you fit within our culture, we don't care what you look like, what your background is, doesn't matter. Come on. And like for Steve's side, if there's somebody that doesn't know, but we see you have all this fun, well, come on in. Safety, quality are always the first staples of anything. And then we start finding out what they like. And, like what I loved about my HR team before I came on, like, you guys got to help me brief up, because it's been a long time since I was actually hands-on doing this all the time. And what I love, they said, well, here's our goals. here's our goals to make this better. We want to, because they know when they came in, we want to make sure they have people they can connect with, that they have liked things or whatever, so that they belong. People want to belong. They want to have a purpose. They want to know that they're making a difference, because this world is so screwed up right now. At least they can come to work and they know this is what they have. It's their work family. We have fun. We work hard. We solve problems together. And that really builds a great relationship with their people.
I bet
Okay,
half,
Steve, we're all leaving now. We're going back to that.
I bet half or 2/3 of our videos, we have extensive YouTube channel, are about our people, about our culture, about our events that we're having, awards that we've won. And
Not of words.
it's not just about the machinery and our
Yes.
capabilities, our competency as a manufacturer. A lot of it is about our culture
It is.
and the employees and the parties,
Yeah.
the events,
It's
people.
important.
People, I think that goes a long way towards defining the culture. People, I hear it from them. As I walk through the shop, they'll come up and thank me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a good day.
Yeah.
So, so it sounds as though your retention strategies are very similar to your recruitment.
For every person that you retain is one you don't have to recruit.
Right.
It's equally as important. I mean, they're virtually synonymous. I mean, it's really hugely important. It's funny, in the old days, we used to concentrate more on recruiting, but now retention, only in the last few years has it really become a big deal, and it's two sides of the same coin. I mean, by being a great company, a great culture, a great place to work, nice people, being cool, having good core values, and that works equally the same whether you're recruiting or retaining, because the retaining is you're recruiting them to stay.
Right, right. You're not recruiting them to
Yeah.
lose them, right?
Right.
Lance,
You almost have to view your employees as a customer. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a customer of your company also, and they're your biggest asset. And so you need to search your view on them and caring for them. We care more as one of our core values, and we care for our people in a radical way. And so when you put your people first, and when opportunities present themselves to do things that are bold to show them that goes a long way, and people talk about that for a very long time. And so that's putting your people first and viewing them almost as a customer is or not almost, viewing them as a customer is I think how you have to shift your mindset in terms of retaining. And so I agree, they're one and the same, they're synonymous. One thing that we're working on is also developing soft skills. So all of our department leads, we've really been focused on leadership development and been bringing people in to help coach them, doing book studies, in every industry, but I feel like even more so in many industries that are trade focused. Typically, you take your best trade and you make them a lead, and that's not the right approach, and so that's how it was done historically. And so we just had a transition from in our weld department for the lead as we prepare for one of ours to retire. And, we went to all the welders. I'm like, listen, I know you guys are used to the best welder being, the lead, but that's, you're the best welder, but I don't think that you're necessarily going to be the best person to be the leader. And so that felt like a tough conversation, but it was good. And he agreed. And so getting that buy-in from them of like, hey, we're going to get the guy that's bilingual and that has good relationships with everybody. He's a really good welder. He may not be our fastest, but changing that narrative and then equipping these people. You can't just put people in positions of leadership and not give them the tools they need to lead. They've never been taught how to lead in their entire lives. And so teaching those soft skills is also help with retaining it, because it's not only are you helping retain that employee, you're helping retain everybody underneath them, because you're now equipping them as a leader. People underestimate the cost of hiring. I mean, just you look at, I think through Culture Index, we actually got a training on it, but it's somewhere between $50,000 and $100,000. It just requires time and effort that, you really don't want to have to be spending. And so I think just really shifting your focus and your appreciation, just like, hey, this is a soft cost that it costs me a lot more than I realize. And just having that approach of, hey, retention is important. And giving your people a voice and being ready for their feedback, and whether that's through surveys or what, through weekly, huddles that, someone from management's present. That's been a lot of success we've had, is weekly huddles with somebody from management present. People come up with ideas on how to improve a process, how to improve, we want to give, your job as the leader is to give them the tools that they need to succeed. And so to serve them with excellence and to give them the tools they need to succeed. And so that's simple things like, small tools and little things you can do to help them, different, whatever, tooling carts or whatever. And also larger investments, if you really want to recruit and the younger generation, you need to be investing in automation. And like we were talking about, making it sexy, and for some smaller shops, investing in automation may be more of a challenge. So look for other little wins along the way that you just be listening, seeking their counsel, doing 360 reviews, where not only are you giving them a review, but they're giving a review of you and giving them the open, the open floor to give you feedback on things you could do better to lead them, or your department leads could do better to lead them. And so all of those things have been really helpful for us and opening up communication lines, and just get ready, because you're going to hear a lot of stuff that, you may not want to hear, or, you may hear stuff that people have great ideas. And then rather than responding with like, oh, no, that doesn't make sense financially, sit them down and walk them through, say, okay, so you want to buy this, tooling cart. This is going to cost $1,000. Okay. How much time is that going to save you every day? Okay, let's look at the ROI, and inviting them in to think that process of how to think through that. And that helps them see, rather than just shooting an idea down. So being, welcome constructive criticism, welcoming that feedback, welcoming ideas, and responding to them in a way that makes them feel heard. Even if you don't implement their idea or their feedback, you need to make them feel heard and understood. That's what people ultimately care about, is feeling heard and understood and appreciated. And so that's and that doesn't cost you any money. It costs you your time, which is very valuable, but your people are your biggest asset. So, you need to invest in them in that way and invest your time in that way.
Steve, I couldn't agree with you
Oh,
more,
that's-
or I'm sorry, Lance, because you said the same thing. It gets back to respect. You want to be respected, and I think taking the time to listen is being respected. And if you can show them, this is what it is, what do you think? A lot of times the answer is right there. And I think that's a very respectful thing, Lance.
Well, it sounds like you have
Yeah.
a really visible
Very transparent.
thank you. That's the word I was searching for.
Transparent.
Really transparent
Mhm.
culture, and that goes back to your culture. And I'm guessing that you, Steve, and Donna, you both have transparent
Yeah.
cultures as well.
Yeah, there's a funny quote about training, and I can't remember who said it. I think I have it on my wall. It's Richard Branson, although I doubt he's the one who actually came up with it. It said, what if I train my people and then they leave? They go to a competitor. The retort is, what if you don't train them and they stay? It's even worse.
Then you're gonna suffer.
Yeah,
Sure.
you really have to. Now, another corollary to that is, there are people that are happy at the position they're in. And sometimes we promote somebody and later on he comes back and goes, I don't like being a manager. I want my old job. Can I still have my old job back? Yeah, because not everybody, we only have 100 people there and there's only so many opportunities for advancement. And so we try to promote from within, but not everybody wants to keep moving up. I hired a manager once and years ago, and I said, so what's your goal? What's your ambition? What's your next step? He goes, I want to be a manager. I want to do what I'm doing. So, he goes, I assumed he would say, I want to be VP, or I want to, be a director. I want to keep the next step. He said, no, I like where I'm at. Yeah, and I've seen that happen at various levels in the company.
I would agree.
And it's not everybody wants to bite off more every day, Some people are happy where they're at.
Interesting.
But
So
you
you're
still
gonna
need
ask
training,
them-
you still need education, because there's always, the world
Something's
something's changing.
You better
Let's
be
talk about
changing.
training. Let's talk about training. Let's talk about your training program. What comprises your training program? What are the different facets?
Metalform.edu.
Yay.
That is really, we had a, our press operator, Bruce, before you guys were on video, there was a guy who we started with the PMA program before Metalform and tweaked it to make it specifically for talent products. And that was a core of our shop floor press operator training. And of course, you know, we have people that we go send to college and get degrees, we have tuition reimbursements, things like that. We've always had a lot of a good belief in education.
Do you have ties with local community college for
Yes.
training, apprenticeship program?
We have two state registered apprenticeship programs for tool and die and for maintenance electrician. And yeah, and we're active in the community colleges and some other community development, you know, community industrial development organizations like Magnet and Ironnet, things like that. So we're pretty active in that. And that's kind of the access program, which is reentry for people who've been formerly incarcerated. We're real big on that. And there's a couple other, I'm not real familiar with all of them, but I know those are the major ones that we use.
Donna, how about you? I know you, go ahead, what are your training programs?
So we have a myriad of all kinds. You know, we are all about free money, and the state of Michigan is giving a lot of training grants, so we always go for training grants. We're very successful working together with our county and then also with the state on getting these. And, you know, we'll get anywhere $2,000 to $3,000 per person, and that could be technical training, like on certain software or, you know, any new technology we're bringing in. It could be management style leadership training. We've used it for a lot of different areas. And then we do big mentorships. You know, when we bring people in, we always have associates who work for us and been there a long time who always want to share their knowledge. And actually share your knowledge is, you know, I told you we have this code of honor. And one of the items there is to share your knowledge and don't be afraid to ask for help, because all through my career, I've seen people a little prideful, wouldn't ask a question, were afraid to ask for help, and that really hurt the company in the long run. So now we really encourage it. We made it part of our code of honor. It says, you know, please share your knowledge. And don't be afraid to ask for help, because I remember tool makers in the day, no, I'm not showing that guy how to do this. I'm not showing them. We don't need this kind of person in the tool room. Well, that's all gone. I mean, but I lived through a lot of prejudices being a woman in the early 80s. And you just didn't let it bother you. You just kind of, was just the industry. But I'm so proud of our organization, and we have such a beautiful, diverse group of people. So I think it's sharing our knowledge internally. That's a big one. We also go and we recruit from the local colleges, and, you know, we're learning from them because they're in training now and they're bringing some new ideas to us. You know, we're looking at different apps to try to help us. And we're just trying to use what the world is using now for a platform to help us grow good people within our company and to share the knowledge. That's kind of like you know, everybody has their way of doing things, right? In a company, you can be a journeyman or, you know, tool and die journeyman 20 years, but you go to this shop, they do things a little bit differently. But I think that's how you learn, and it's just learning from each other. You know, recently we're into gauges now, so we're designing and building gauges, and so we had a customer that came on, and, you know, they had their own design standard for gauges, and I'm telling you, with that collaboration, we learned a lot working with them, and we actually updated our own gauge standards. So, I mean, we always tell people, you need to learn from everybody, even that 17 or 18, sometimes 16-year-olds that walk into our shop. We need to be open-minded to learning from everybody. And then, of course, we have our formalized training for certain specific jobs. And so
I believe you said you have an in-house apprenticeship program.
we do have in-house apprenticeship or journeyman programs, apprenticeships. And there's some of the goals of our new people that are in HR now. They say, we want to take this even further. Like I said, you're calling it Talent U. We don't have a name for ours, but it's providing a career path for somebody at different stages in their life. Like I said, it could be somebody that's got 10, 15 years in the trade, but when they come to PTM, what is it that we need them to learn? We're working on standardizing our process and procedures. So we can have all this great talent, but we can't have 12 different ways of doing things. But we'll listen to your ideas and then update our processes and procedures. That's our other code item. Code item number 10 is to follow our policies and procedures, because it's important that we follow them and standardize those processes and procedures, but constantly make improvements to them by hearing ideas from other people and their way of doing things.
And that can be challenging to get the old school people to share their tribal knowledge.
I was gonna ask you that.
I
Do you have
was-
trouble?
We have very little. I think we've just captured most of it, but I was in a brass instrument manufacturer, you know, like clarinets and horns and tubes and
Oh,
whatnot,
wow.
you know, trombones. Imagine manufacturing a trombone, you know, you gotta get that, the slide to exactly fit the other part, you know? And I was in this factory about 30 years ago, I'm walking through and they said, everybody was just, we're all metal workers, we're all amazed at the precision of what they're making. And said, what's this process here? It's an old, I don't know, old Joe's the only guy who knows what that is. It's a big black bucket of black goop and we don't know what's in it, but the metal will form properly if you put that goop on, you know? And I went by the same company about 20 years later. They captured almost all the tribal knowledge.
That's
I went by 10 years after that. There isn't a process that goes on in that factory that's not captured. And that there's no tribal knowledge.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's tribal, it's all institutionalized.
That's awesome.
And it's a neat example of seeing it. But if you went there 50 years ago, it was probably all little packets of tribal knowledge
Just like
and nobody
My
shared it
precious.
because that's what made that guy valuable. And you could never fire old Joe because he's the only one who knew how to make the
Yeah.
slide on the trombone work, you know?
Wow, very
I
interesting.
mean, not physically,
Sure.
literally.
Sure. Wow.
But I don't see that much that attitude like that anymore of sharing,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
hoarding. I feel like with the right culture, people are proud to share. They want to share because they see the concern with the skilled trades and I have my people going, Donna, what are we doing? What are we doing? You know, but it's like it's never good enough, but it has to be, you know, we're doing things like this, joining PMA. It's like I told my people, you know, as a business owner, it's great that I know about PMA, but it's so important to get your people involved with PMA so that we can see the products and services that we can help our people with. But unless our people who work for us don't know about that, then you can't utilize those services.
Well, it sounds like we really need to talk to the PMA. Connie and Mary. Can you tell us a little bit about what does PMA offer to help manufacturers who are really looking to recruit, retain, and train their employees?
Right, you know, and I think that's one aspect, but a fabulous aspect of all of the benefits that are available to PMA members. You know, aside from the advocacy and the magazine, of course, all the events, the technical seminars, all the things that you get from joining an association, as well as the networking and the peers, right? You learn as much from them as you do from the quote experts in the field. Is the people who are working with you side by side with you in another organization every day, best practices. But training and development is where workforce development department focuses. And
I see the wheel, the training wheel.
we have a
up
plethora of
We have a lot
resources
of
available.
offers.
You know, for a very long time, we focused on technical training at PMA, and that's where a lot of our Metalforming EDU and so forth comes from, which Mary can talk about. But we are also expanding a lot of that into a lot of non-technical training. We have a lot of conversations with companies. A lot of times their HR people are not necessarily versed in training and development. They know HR, they know comps and benefits and payrolls and things like that. But training is a strategy, and it really takes effort and proactiveness to come up with training programs that are not just effective but sustainable, and not just get a tick box done, but actually develop career pathways that develop, even if those are lateral. So the reason that we started to expand a lot of this into some of the non-technical side of things, we have, to Lance's point, he talked about the assessments and stuff prior to for recruitment. We have access to a lot of those. He did mention the culture one. There's also DISC assessments. There's behaviors and motivators, things that not just what a person does, but what motivates them. Everyone's different. You may not want to go up the ladder. You may want money. You may want, you know, a Gen Z may want, what's the why? You know, everyone has different things. That's great for recruitment. We have access to all of that. We have vetted people and programs so you don't have to as a member. You won't have to do that. And that's another huge benefit of coming to PMA is rather than racking your brain and trying to find where do I go for this and are they any good or how am I going to get this? We have done that for you. And all of those resources from lean to project management to the assessments to technical training, of course, to regulatory, all of these things that we can help with are at the doorstep of PMA. And as a member, your access to that is it is not only diverse, but it's drastically discounted than if you were not a member of PMA. So it's a huge advantage for what we're trying to do. And our goal is to help members succeed. And that is by developing their employees and themselves to be like with these well-oiled machines that work well together, that succeed not only in revenue and ROI, but in their culture and so forth. And we have all of those resources right here at their fingertips.
Well, Metaform EDU sounds really interesting. I've been
It is.
hearing it a lot.
It is.
Tell us about it, Mary.
Well, Metalform EDU is online, on-demand courses that we have, and there is over 50 PMA specific courses in metal forming, and then we have over 800 courses that have to do with, like Connie mentioned, lean, soft skills that Lance was mentioning. Anywhere from who's out on the floor training to training your office personnel too. So if you have any type of training in any of those areas, we have that. And I know we were talking too about, Donna, I think you mentioned that learning is always ongoing. And one of the things that we try and do is with the younger generation is all of our courses, because they're on demand, they can do them on their phone. And I just had a member ask me just last week, do you have a QR code? And I'm like, had nobody ever asked me that, but I can create one. She goes, because it would be helpful, because then these younger generations scan the QR code, takes them right to their courses, they can take their courses. So there's a lot of different ways that you can train with our Metalform EDU. And it is being used by a lot of our members to not only train new hires that are coming in, which, by the way, we do have an assessment too that we offer that new individuals can take, that you can, see where their learning is with math, measurements, tools, just to kind of get an idea. It's 60 questions, and it would help the employer know whether this individual needs a little more training before you can put him out on the floor, or where his knowledge level is, especially with those that are, juniors and seniors in high school that you're just trying to bring in. So we do offer that. And then we also have courses in all different areas. We have just partnered with an organization that we're using Metalform EDU for veterans. So it's an organization that's nationwide, and they're going to begin utilizing it. So just to give the individual, a veteran that's maybe trying to find their place and what they want to do, they could take our courses, say in press shop operator, they'll get a certificate. They can go into one of our member companies and then be able to, already have one step up with our metal forming training. We, as Steve mentioned with the Access program, we are involved. The courses that those individuals take for the re-entry are metal forming EDU courses. They take those courses and then they are going to Talent to work. And we also have other member companies that worked with another organization that was a re-entry program, and they've hired those individuals, but now they're actually using Metalform EDU to refresh your courses. Like this individual came in a year ago, but they're still a little bit struggling. So they're, purchasing some EDU courses to have them keep refreshing their courses with these individuals that might just need a little more assistance in going, forward and pursuing stuff. But it's a great way with new hires to get them in the door and out on the floor. That was Connie saying. I'm stealing that. And then even with your current individual employees to try and upskill them, and I know we've talked about, how to advance them, how to give them a career. One of the things you can do is give them a little more knowledge, give them the education, provide that for them. It's free. They're not going to go down the street. If they can keep learning and then advance them from an entry level position to the next position, which with that next position gives them a little more money, and then their lifestyle's better. And I know we talked about that. This is our job. This is part of what PMA wants to do. Take the younger generation, give them the opportunity, provide the education for them, help them earn a living that they can live. They can move out of their mom and dad's house. They can, with no debt, exactly, with no debt. And they can have a life. I mean, it's so hard for the younger generation. I mean, we all have lived through difficult things, but this is an opportunity for them to learn how to do something in manufacturing. Like Donna, you said, we all said it's a cool environment. I just came into manufacturing working at PMA a year ago. it is fabulous what I've learned from all the companies that I've gone to already, the visits I've gone to. It's amazing, and the young kids don't see it. Like, you know, you were saying too, they don't see it out there on TV. They see how to be a lawyer, they see how to be a doctor, they see, why not go in and work on robotics, or, you know, it's not what it used to be. And make stuff, make cool stuff, learn how to make stuff, so. But you know, the Metalform EDU is a great way to start, and all of our members should be using it there. And if you're not a member, you should become a member, and then you can use it.
So what would you say, you talked about the technical training, and very impressive how many courses we offer. What would you say are the top 3 technical training?
Pass that off to Connie with the technical training,
Well,
the in-plant training.
In the Metalform EDU, what the
in
courses?
Metalform EDU, I think our biggest, our most utilized would be the press up operator courses
Okay.
themselves. I think there's 12 or 18, somewhere in there. Courses in that
Oh, wow.
we built skill sets so that you don't have to do the thinking about what should they take. We've put them together, utilizing our technical trainers. That these are all the things that we see that someone in that role would need. And we are also directly aligned with NIMS, the National Institute of Metalworking Skills. We are directly aligned with them in 15 roles that we have skill sets for, that should someone take the Metalform EDU training, they could eventually sit for a NIMS credential and get a NIMS certification because they have prepped with the training courses. We also have our own PMA, it's brand new, we have our own PMA certification. So with that, they're a certified metal forming technician. It is a third-party vetted, it's I want to say blessed, but it's all vetted through Space Tech, a third-party organization. You can take Metalform EDU to prep for that. You can also just take it on your own. Members get a discount for that, but that's available to the public as well, so that they can upskill and come in the door with some certifications, or you can train your people to get those certifications. But I think press shop operator is big, die setter roles, big, press brake is a newer one, and that's also a big. Those 3 skill sets are pretty big in there, and they're all offset intertwined with safety and quality courses within those as well. And
But we
that's
also
about
have the in-plant training that we do,
In-plant training.
because I know
Sorry,
Donna,
ask me about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Donna had mentioned, you know, if you're a member, why not utilize all the training that we have? And there is so much that we offer here, and when we have technical in-plant training, or the training is here at PMA
There's
too.
technical seminars. You can virtual into the technical seminars as well. Like in plant training, we have our specialists come out to your site. They learn your particular instances, your particular machines, your particular processes, and they can train your shops and employees, things that are customized to you. And that can be done as a paid but very drastically discounted service through PMA. And there's ways
So
to.
there would be a lot of instances, and you can feel great on this,
Yes.
where you really need, it's one thing to have certain skills, that people are trained on and educated on, but there might be just some real specifics to the kind of machinery they have
Yes.
or the circumstances they have. Would you say that's like really a premium product?
And it is since COVID, it's really become a huge aspect and a resource that companies are utilizing. Our implant training has really gone skyrocketing as far as the technicians are out in the plants doing a lot of custom work.
Who are these technicians? And I don't mean by name, but I mean, they're specialists in their field.
Yes, industry
Specific
experts. We have 2 on staff technical trainers. Pete is our director and Scott is our manager. They have extensive background in the industry, have worked in the industry themselves. And then they also have connection to them, like thems out in the world, a home connection of thems. It's like if we could clone them, it would be fabulous, right?
Yeah.
And so if they don't know that particular aspect themselves, they utilize that other person, just like we are doing with the non-technical training. We have this plethora of industry experts in all these different fields. They have the same for that. Someone who knows tool in die building may not necessarily know the press break itself or something, so. Subject matter experts in every field, and that's another resource of PMA. The subject matter experts within us is amazing. So it's a great.
And the grants, like you mentioned, the grants and the money out there. Connie's been at,
So what are the?
yeah, what are the grants? She's been here for like just over, or just not even 2 years yet, and she has done so much work on figuring out how we can get grants, not only, for our members and how to get that free money and working with different people, but.
So what kinds of resources like that does PMA connect manufacturers with?
Right, so as a member, you have access, our advocacy group, Franklin Partnership, does extensive work on researching all of the grants. And there is an area of the website as a member that you can go to and you can access, right now it's an Excel sheet. We're about to launch a map, so it's gonna be far more intuitive to just click my state.
Yep.
And it will list all of the federal and state grants available in your state. And it's gonna be awesome, but for example, there's Michigan, like Wisconsin has Fast Forward, Ohio has Tech Cred, Indiana has In Training, almost every state has funds available that would pay probably a minimum of 50% to 100%. Ohio Tech Cred is $2,000 per person, up to $30,000 a company. So if you want in-plant training done in your company, yes, you have to fill out paperwork. Yes, you have to pay up front, but as soon as everyone gets that certificate, they did it, you get reimbursed.
And you can use it for EDU training too.
You can use it for EDU, you can use it for all sorts of things.
So then are you able to help the manufacturers achieve that or find where they can locate that funding?
We can help them find where to locate it. The application process is on them because
It's on
it's
them.
really a lot of company
Yeah.
information. You have to put in your FEIN numbers,
Yeah.
you have to put in who you're training and what you're training them on. And so there is a lot of ownership on the company that does need to do
Yeah.
their part. But we can help direct them to where to go.
And
Depending on the state, we have connections at some of them. Through NIMS, we have some great connections with, we're working on, this is jumping ship for a second, but we're working on 2 apprenticeship national guidelines for PMA, press shop operator and tool and die setter.
yes.
And we are hoping to have those nationally approved this year, within the next 6 months. It will be done, but it's gonna take the government however long to do it. EDU will be useful for those, they will be part of the guidelines. And there's funding for that. There's several areas, we know those, so we can help everybody, we can lead them to the water. They're gonna have to do some drinking themselves, right? But yes, we can help sort where to find those sources from.
Fantastic.
There's a lot out there, it's your money. You don't use it and they're gonna take it away. The states are gonna stop doing it if you don't utilize it, so utilize it.
It was great to hear that you guys use it a lot, that you have gotten,
Yes,
you
we
save
are
money.
always applying for any grant we
That's
can
awesome.
get, and then we'll
Okay.
find areas that we need at that time, whenever the grant's gonna be released, and we just create those programs, so. it's good
And the
to know
micro
that-
grants that you
Okay,
take.
okay,
We have the micro grant, yep.
Yes.
That's for Manufacturing Day, so if anybody would like funds to help support Manufacturing Day and it helps bring the students in, and we help, with providing a little bit of extra funds for whatever you're giving to the students, whether it might be little, tchotchke stuff or whatever training that you're going to be giving them. We do have a micro grant for that comes out in the fall.
And scholarships, we have student scholarships as well, that we do in the spring and the fall. Students can apply if they're going into the industry. There's an application process that they could go through our education foundation, which also sponsors the micro grants. The spring one is open right now.
Yes.
And what's the closing date of that?
March 25th,
So up to March 25th, get your students out there.
as long as they're in manufacturing.
It's PMA itself offers a part of that scholarship, and then the local district of that student often kicks in additional money. So shout out to all of our districts that participate in the scholarship every year. They're fabulous. They do a great job.
And
getting
as an
out students.
apprentice, you can apply to receive funds.
That's great.
Yeah.
There's lots of things out there for
So
them.
that you have a lot to offer And where can people apply to become a member of PMA?
Oh, membership.
Well, membership team.
Membership team.
Yes, we, on our website, there is the membership tab.
PMA.org.
PMA.org. We also, our membership is, there's regions of the way that we divide the state into our 3 membership managers, Diana Novak, Eileen Schwartz, and Mark Fortuna. They are your go-tos depending on what state you're in. That can help you find out how to be a member, to get more involved in what's going on. And then once you are a member of PMA and you are interested in workforce development and all the training opportunities and all the different things that we can help you with, if they don't connect you to us, which they do always
They
do,
always
but
do.
we're always available as well. And we're on the workforce development side, the tab.
And there's just so, yeah, once you become a member, there's so many opportunities like to train or train your individuals. I know one of your HR members is interested in we have an HR roundtable that comes up that, you know, is just great. I think it's in March.
It's in May.
May. So, I mean, there's just many different opportunities to help train your employees once, you know, they're in and you take a look at everything. So why not utilize it?
Well, it sounds as though Donna and Steve and possibly Lance also are really interested and have been taking advantage of some of the membership opportunities. So thank you very much for explaining that. And if anyone has any questions, can they email you, Connie, at what email address?
Absolutely. They can email me at cking@pma.org. So that's cking@pma.org. Or
Pramik, PRAMIK @pma.org. And we can fill you in on all the training that you need. Because it's a new year, 2024. It's time to train, trying to train and retain your employees. It's a new
time to
year.
start planning the year.
Start plan out your
Going.
year with your training.
Well, thank you very much. We do, PMA does offer. I can't say we because I have nothing to do with it, but I'll take credit though. I take credit.
That's fine.
And speaking of taking
You're part of the
credit, I
team.
have to give credit to Lance, who's been answering a lot of questions that have come in online. Thank you,
The
Lance.
one benefit to me being virtual, I was like,
There you
well,
go.
imagine lots of value here.
And I will just go ahead and read a couple of the questions and answers for anyone who maybe can't see the chat. One just this is one that Lance missed. How does everyone keep the interest going for employees when the machines are automated and running and the operator is standing waiting for the next task to perform? So in other words, how do you work in automation and employees? I mean, that is
Well, I actually did answer that. I thought, I'm surprised it's not showing, but we have people, whenever you automate a machine, you run it, you have run 2 machines. And so that keeps them busy. Especially like in a machine shop, that's super applicable, very common. We also have them do secondary processes. So, you know, that if your laser's running automated, then your operator should be breaking out parts and deburring parts. And so, you know, that starts with recruiting the right people that have a mindset of, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And as leadership, like you have to demonstrate that nobody's below any task. And so, you know, that's the way we've handled it. And you just keep people engaged. And if they have a machine that's running automated, then they can run more than one machine, or they can be doing secondary tasks. Or they could be leading their team and checking in with other people in their department.
excellent. Do you have one?
We're huge proponents of automation and robotics, and I mean, it's the core of manufacturing, has been for a while. You know what factories that have a whole bunch of robots and automation have? Robot repairmen and programmers. And you're always tweaking the program, you never really settle. There's always a way to get it, take a couple seconds out. I don't care if it's a mature process. There's always a way to, you know, our guys seem to always, you know, when they find some spare time, they can always find another second or two in a process to shape a second or two out of a process. But yeah, but they break. And even the robot repairman will tell you, these things don't run 99%. They don't even run 95%.
And with all the automation you have how many employees again?
We have just under 100.
Okay.
But we have,
So you still.
the reason we have such high sales per employee and high value add is because we have high speed presses and high speed processes. That's what it is. I mean, it's not like people are working 5 times harder. You know, we have a lot of throughput. We have a high speed,
High volume,
high volume.
high volume,
High volume.
production as well. So
Well,
we have
one
a
thing
question.
I wanted
Sorry,
to
go ahead.
add to that real quick, sorry, I'd be remiss to not share this. I think this applies to everything we've been talking about, is connecting people to your company goals. And so, we've opened up our financials so that people see, we actually have live dashboards that show what our sales are each month, how much we've shipped, what our on-time delivery is, what our order acceptance rate is. And then we also publish what our profit margins are, both EBITDA and net profit. And so it's easy to connect employees to, amount dollars shipped and quality, on-time delivery, but connecting them to the bottom line was for us the missing component. And so by opening up our financials and sharing what our goals were for profitability, and you can do it in percentages, you don't have to do it in dollars. That's what we do, percentages. And then every employee has their own dashboard. And so they can see throughout the quarter how they performed on every single job, what their efficiency rating was, and how much of the time they were here. We have employee utilization, meaning how much time they're clocked into jobs while they're here, and how much, how they did compared to the estimated time they were given. And so as long as they're clocked in on jobs for 95% of the time they're here, and they beat the times that they're given over the course of the quarter, then they get an extra $500 bonus on top of, the regular bonus if we meet our KPI. So by doing that, it connects them to the profitability. So that's how you get more out of the people, is share the profit with them. When they make the company more money, they should get paid more. And so that's been our approach, and that's been hugely successful. And it really, imagine this, if you're doing the same thing all day, every day, it gets monotonous. And so by giving them the tools to see how they're performing, they can actually gamify it and see how they're doing and know it. And so, and track it throughout the quarter. And so it really, people think even machine monitoring, that type of thing, people think, oh, well, that feels too big brotherish. No, I mean, if you use it as a whipping stick, but if you use it as an incentivizing tool, then it gamifies it for them and engages the employees, and helps them to earn more money too. So that's been hugely successful for us. And I wanted to make sure and share that before the time was up.
I love that. That's really cool. Well, our battery's running low. So we're really close here, but we did have a couple of questions I want to go ahead and ask. This one's from obviously possibly a millennial. I don't know. What flexibility methods have you implemented for your production staff? I'll ask you first, Steve, and then
Flexibility.
flexibility.
We try to have flex time when possible. But it would be in the opposite of virtual. You have to be in front of the press if you're a press operator. So when COVID hit, okay, here's some flexes. We're hybrid in the office. We're not all,
Nice.
There was a time there was like 2 or 3 people in the office out of maybe 20 prior to COVID. And I was remote for a very short while before I started going back. I was probably the 3rd or 4th one back. And but now 5 or 10 are back, out of 20. There's a lot are gonna stay remote. I think we've just recently gone to we'd like to see you there 1 day a week, the day that your team meets,
Yeah. So you have implemented
there's-
flexibility.
We've implemented flexibility, yeah, we're hybrid.
When I know Donna, you'd mentioned earlier on that, in some ways, like they just have to be there and operating the equipment or whatever. Are you able to,
Absolutely.
Influence
I
and
think
flexibility?
we're probably at one point, we're probably too flexible because we try to work. When you get somebody good, you try to be flexible with them. And, working with some single parents, I can't even say moms now because there's a lot of single dads out there and they need some flexibility to work their schedule so that they can take care of their family. And, that's some of the thing, part of our culture is your family needs to be first, because if we can help you make family first, then hopefully we'll be a real close second, by being flexible and being able to, hey, can I take off for an hour to go see my kid in this thing or whatever? So we offer lots of flexibility within reason. We really, really do. And I think that's something we've always done, even prior to COVID. It was new having, some hybrids, but we've pretty much gone back. We said, no, we need to come back. But what we are flexible with, hey, the furnace broke, can I work from home tomorrow? Absolutely, we'll do that. But to make it a norm, it's been our culture not to, but we are flexible with people for life situations. We're very, very flexible with that.
and being a family company and a
Yes.
family
Yes,
oriented company, it sounds
Yes.
like you do have that understanding.
yes, of course.
So, so Lance, can you add to that? Obviously, you were doing a lot of things with disability and transparency. Are you able to offer flexibility to your employees?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky, you gotta be here, and even with office people, there's so much value in having, the account manager here, the estimator here, programmer here, just people come and ask questions, and so that collaboration that we've talked about is so key, but, we try to be understanding and let people go do what they need to do to take care of their families. I think our general, it's not something we've done recently, but something we've always had is have this flex shift where you got to be here from 7 to 3:30, but you can come in early and you can stay late to make extra. That's quite a bit of flexibility. We let people come in early and leave early on Fridays. And then Saturday is an optional day. We've used our ERP system is a local network. So we use logmein.com for people to be able to log in remotely and work. Another thing we've done is to incentivize people. We have, cameras, Nest cams and machines to where they can see their machines running. We'll pay them double time to come back up and pay for them, include their time in the transit to come back up and keep their machine running. And so that just some incentivizes there. But yeah, I mean, it's tough in manufacturing to have too much flexibility, but you want to meet people where they're at and give them what they need to, and put the people first and care for them in a way that makes them feel cared for and gives them the flexibility that they need, while also still meeting the manufacturing demands.
I imagine it is a little tricky balancing act. And we have one more question before we close out here. This is from Sean. I'll say Sean Ross because I know Sean Ross. And he's asking if you offer after hours opportunities to make their own projects or, do things that are related to sharpen their skills. Do you support that if they have ambitions after hours?
We do.
Okay.
We do. In fact, we've got, part of our staff that does auto repair. And occasionally somebody needs something and it's cheaper to just let this employee do it for that employee and just use the garage and the tools. And
Interesting.
be done with it right after hours.
Okay.
But yeah. And then worked on what I call government jobs.
Yeah.
Occasionally, but we always say we'd like to know about, we can't just have everybody in the shop, but someone's like, hey, I'm doing this. Can I work on this project? So yeah, we want to know about it. We want to know what's involved but definitely we have done it.
Very good. How about you, Steve?
We're cool, but I don't know that there's a lot of it.
Okay.
I mean, we're really, it's kind of a go place. There's nobody leaning against the broom in our place. No moss growing on anybody. When we were understaffed, everybody was working 60 hours. There just wasn't a lot of time for side
Time for
gigs.
after hours.
Yeah, but I mean, we're obviously copacetic. We try to be nice. We would accommodate. I don't see it a lot. I walk through every day. See a lot of site stuff.
We don't see.
We wouldn't mind. Yeah, we wouldn't mind.
Well, before we end, I'm gonna just do one round to just ask you quickly. And Lance, I'm gonna come back to you last. So Donna, what would you say are the top 3 most important attributes for a new employee?
I think the most important one for me and what I've heard people tell me, it's the culture that attracts them there. A culture of respect, dignity. They know a part of our mission is we're gonna have correction with love and respect, not a weird love, but you have to be careful how you tell people, we're gonna treat you like family, because some family lives are not that great. And, in our business, we developed our.
We're gonna make you take out the garbage every night.
Well, yes, could be. So our code of honor and our mission was so important to us that we said, we're gonna identify what does it mean to be a family environment. So we highlighted, this is a family environment. What does it mean to have good culture? What does it mean to have this? So our mission and our code of honor are extremely important because it's easy to be good to people when things are going great. It's when the cup starts boiling and how we treat each other. That's truly your culture, right? And so that is important for us. So the second thing would be open-minded to change and be open-minded to learn at every level, and not just because I'm the owner, I learn something new every day. And I think people need to be open-minded to listen, learn, and share their knowledge. So those would be my top 3 things for anybody out there.
Awesome.
Steve?
I think sharing a culture, being a cultural fit. I mean, hard work and stuff like that, smart work, or just being productive is part of the culture. Being collaborative, not being a jerk. You know, that's what we call respect. When we list our core values, we have behaviors that support those values. So if you say respect is important, it's one word, that's our value, respect. Well, that means something completely different than the urban kid, than somebody that grew up on a farm, you know? So we spelled out what respect means in simple sentences so everybody can share. But cultural fit is trumps just about everything. We had a really good supervisor once. He couldn't not be a jerk. He was a nice guy. But he'd see people talking, instead of running the press, they were talking. And the guy was asking his coworker to explain a problem he was having. The supervisor comes up and starts yelling at him. Instead of saying, would you guys need help with something, you know? And eventually he went to a friend's company up the street where he fit right in with the culture.
Yeah.
You know, but he was an older, like, you know, 50s or something. He wasn't young and adaptive. He couldn't train. He couldn't change. He knew he wasn't fitting in, and he knew he was going to lose his job. But he told me, he said, I can't not be the way I am. He worked at one of the old school shops in town. You know, in the old way, everybody was like a Nazi. You know, I mean, that's the way they managed.
So cultural fit.
Yeah.
Are there any other attributes that, you know, you look for in an employee?
We had a guy once that was about to get hired, and he said, the plant manager said, "So tell me something good about you." He goes, "I don't call off much." He didn't get the job. No, I think culture covers, it's such a, like an umbrella that it covers, you know, ambitious and hard work and all the other little things that create a good employee.
Good stuff. Lance, how about you? What would you say are the 3 attributes you look for?
Yeah,
Or they look for.
I think our core values, a few stand out. I've talked about, whatever it takes, having that whatever it takes mentality, that it's, you're not just showing up for a paycheck. Relentless pursuit of excellence for us is another one. So somebody that's very detail oriented, that they're going to be, never satisfied. They're just, always looking to produce the best parts, is something. If somebody's not detail oriented, we won't even interview them. And so that's something that's very key. And then lastly, I would say just, being a team player, being open-minded, innovative team player, would be the last thing I would say is somebody that's, going to respect others and work with others well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you everyone for being with us today. We've reached the end of our Metal Forming Live. Recruit, retain, train. I got through this whole thing without saying retrain. So happy about that. So many thanks to all of you. Lance, thank you there. I'm a little worried about your wall back there. I think there are a few spots that don't have animal heads on them. I think we need to work on it. Let's take a moment to again thank our sponsors. Intertech Alchemy and PTM Corporation, whose generous support has allowed us to offer this program for no fee. And again, thanks for joining us. We will archive this. You'll be able to access this entire session and listen to it again and again and again. If you want to, if you have any questions, we offered up the emails, Connie and Mary. And I think Don and Steve would rather you send the questions to me and I'll forward them. Anyway, thank you again so much. We are out.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass.